Intro. Just because it's cold doesn't mean your garden has to fall into hibernation. Do you want blooms from January all the way through October? Then you're in exactly the right place. In this video, part 1, I'll show you 10 hardy, long-flowering shrubs that don't just somehow survive but really put on a show. Some get going while snow still lies outside. Others keep going strong when almost everything else has already given up. And the best part, you don't need a gardening degree to enjoy them. These plants are low maintenance, robust, and truly beautiful. Whether you were just starting out in gardening or simply want to bring fresh energy into your beds, these shrubs give your garden color, structure, and life for almost the whole year. I'll introduce each plant individually with details about bloom time, location, special features, and an honest assessment. What's easy? What takes some work? What's the wow factor? So get comfortable or grab your spade right away, because here come the top 10 shrubs that will keep your garden exciting almost all year round. Witch hazel, the magician of winter. Picture this, it's January. Outside everything is gray. It's cold, wet, muddy. The garden is in deep sleep. Not a leaf, not a flower, nothing stirs. And right at that moment, a plant steps forward and says, "Winter doesn't bother me." It blooms anyway, not shyly, but beautifully and boldly. We're talking about witch hazel, known botanically as hamamelis. Don't worry, this isn't some sorcery straight out of a fantasy novel, but a very real garden hero. As early as January, it puts on its unique floral show. Fine, thread-like blossoms that look as though someone has hung bright paper streamers on the branches. Depending on the variety, they bloom in radiant yellow, warm orange, or even a strong red. And if that weren't enough, there's also a lovely fragrance. Not overwhelming, but like a gentle breath of spring with a hint of lemon. In the middle of a bare winter landscape, it's a true mood lifter. Witch hazel is fully hardy. All it needs is a sunny to semi-shady spot and a little space to unfold. It looks best standing alone, where its unusual shape and flowers can really shine. It isn't meant as a filler. It's a shrub that demands to be seen. Care? Very relaxed. No pruning needed, no fertilizer fuss, no drama. Plant it well once and then leave it in peace. Witch hazel is perfect for anyone who wants lots of impact with little effort. If you think the garden is dead in winter, you simply haven't met this shrub yet. It brings color, fragrance, and a touch of magic into the coldest season. And the best part, it does it all on its own. Cornelian cherry, the cheerful early bird. Now it's early March. The sun dares to peek out a little more bravely. Some people are already dragging out the garden chairs, with down jackets, of course. And right then another shrub thinks, time for some color. Welcome the Cornelian cherry, or Cornus mas. It is one of the very first bloomers of the year, and doesn't care in the slightest if it is still frosty outside. Already in late winter, sometimes as early as February, it opens its bright yellow flowers. Tiny, starry blossoms that spread across the bare branches like a delicate veil of sunshine. That's not just lovely for us, but also a lifesaver for insects. While bees, bumblebees, and flies are still stumbling groggily through the garden, the Cornelian cherry is already blooming in full swing, offering plenty of nectar and pollen. A true first-aid buffet for hungry spring starters. But it doesn't stop there. After flowering, it produces small cherry-like fruits. They're edible, slightly tart, excellent for jam or liqueur. Or you can simply leave them for the birds to enjoy. Multifunctional, this shrub. And what does it need? Not much. A sunny to semi-shady place, a little patience in its early years, and then it takes care of itself. It grows slowly but matures into a real character plant. Easily 3 to 5 meters tall, with a relaxed, natural growth form. It's low maintenance, too. Once planted, it does its thing. Pruning isn't necessary, only if you want to correct its shape. And drought, it shrugs it off. A true natural talent. The Cornelian cherry is perfect for anyone who wants something special in their garden as early as spring. Understated yet striking and wonderfully reliable. Flowering quince, the bold statement maker. Be honest, the winter feels endless, doesn't it? Months of gray, cold rain or snow. You've almost forgotten what color looks like. And then suddenly, it happens. Even before spring officially begins, something explodes in your garden. No, it's not a technical glitch. It's the flowering quince. This shrub doesn't waste time, it just gets right to the point. Already in March, sometimes even late February, it bursts into bloom, bright red, orange, pink, or white, and not gently or shyly, but boldly and with full force. Flowering quince belongs to the "I was here before it was cool" club. While other plants are still snoozing in their buds, it makes bold color statements, on bare branches no less, which makes the effect even more striking. And that's not all. After flowering, it produces small apple-like fruits, hard as stone but intensely aromatic, perfect for jelly, liqueurs, or simply as decoration. Or just leave them on the shrub. They look wonderful in autumn too. What does it need? Sun. Period. The sunnier the location, the more abundant the flowers. Otherwise, it's absolutely easygoing, tolerant of urban climates, happy with pruning, and generally robust. You can grow it as a standalone, a flowering hedge, or even train it into shape if you enjoy pruning and structure. It doesn't get particularly tall, usually around 1 to 1.5 meters, but its impact is much bigger than its size suggests, especially since it is one of the very first plants to banish winter as gloom with a splash of color. In short, flowering quince is like that good friend who shows up at your door in wind and weather saying, "Come on out, spring has already started. You just haven't noticed yet." Snowball viburnum, the cloud maker. Imagine standing in your garden in May and suddenly seeing giant white balls floating in front of you. No, you haven't gone crazy. This is the snowball viburnum, Viburnum opulus, or its many cultivated forms. When it blooms, it really earns its name. Huge clusters of blossoms, shaped like snowballs, hanging in abundance.
First fresh greenish white, then bright white, sometimes even turning slightly pink as they age. A blooming firework, only softer. It's a shrub that really makes a statement. Planted alone, it becomes a centerpiece in any garden. But even in a flowering hedge, it works wonderfully. At around 2 to 4 meters tall, it can't be overlooked.
And what does it need? Sun to partial shade. The more sun, the more flowers. Soil? Uncomplicated, moist, nutrient-rich. It thrives. Care? Practically none. Just plant it. Maybe a little pruning after flowering if you want to control its shape. And otherwise, enjoy. After flowering, the red berries come. Beautiful to look at, though slightly poisonous raw for humans. But for birds, an absolute delicacy. The snowball viburnum isn't just ornamental, it's also useful. And in autumn, the leaves turn a brilliant red. Meaning, this shrub doesn't just offer a few weeks of show but a 3-season package. Serviceberry, the delicate all-rounder. April. Everything is just starting to bloom. Magnolias, cherry blossoms, tulips, and right in the middle of it, the serviceberry, amelanchier. It looks delicate, almost ethereal, thin branches, covered in clouds of small white flowers, like fine brushstrokes on a spring canvas. But don't be fooled. Despite its delicate appearance, this shrub is tough, fully hardy, undemanding, and very adaptable. The serviceberry has a lot to offer. First the flowers, then the fruits. Small, dark blue berries that look a bit like blueberries. Sweet and aromatic, edible raw, or excellent for jams. Birds love them too, so you might need to be quick if you want some for yourself. And then autumn comes. Suddenly it's ablaze in fiery orange, red, and yellow tones, a shrub that really shines in all 3 seasons. Size, depending on the species, anywhere from 1.5 meters to 6 meters tall, meaning you can find one for almost every garden, whether as a small ornamental shrub, a fruit shrub, or even as a small tree. The serviceberry doesn't ask for much. Sun to partial shade, soil that's not too dry, and that's it. Otherwise, it takes care of itself. It's perfect for those who want something delicate, natural, and multi-talented. Flowers, fruit, autumn color, there's something for everyone. Ceanothus, the blue wonder. Be honest. When you imagine shrubs in bloom, you probably think of white, yellow, maybe pink or red. But blue? That's rare. And that's exactly why ceanothus, also called California lilac, is such a sensation. In June, it bursts into bloom, covering itself in thousands of tiny flowers that together shine in the most beautiful sky blue. It's a sight that almost looks surreal, as though someone has scattered pieces of the summer sky into your garden. But there's a catch. Ceanothus isn't fully hardy, at least not all varieties. Some manage well in mild regions, but many need winter protection or are best grown against a house wall where they're shielded. That's why ceanothus is more of an extra than a foundation shrub. But what an extra! It brings a color into the garden that few other shrubs can offer. Care? Moderate. Loves sun, hates wet feet. So give it a sunny, well-drained spot, and it will thank you with a color spectacle. It doesn't get too tall, usually 1 to 2 meters, but it's dense and compact, a real eye-catcher. So, if you like something unusual, if you want to surprise your garden guests with a rare color, then ceanothus is your shrub. A little diva, yes, but one that rewards you with a breathtaking bloom. Butterfly bush, the butterfly magnet. Now we're in the heart of summer. July, August, the days are long, the air shimmers with heat, and then comes a shrub that lives up to its name like no other, the butterfly bush, Buddleja davidi. This shrub is like a neon sign for butterflies. Its large, fragrant flower panicles are so full of nectar that butterflies, bees, and bumblebees can't resist. It's not uncommon to see 5, 10, or even 20 butterflies sitting on it at once. The colors range from lilac and pink to deep purple, even white, and it blooms tirelessly, from July well into September. Size? Impressive. 2 to 3 meters tall and wide is no problem. That S why it needs space. But it is also what makes it such a dramatic presence in the garden. And the best part? It's easygoing. Loves sun, tolerates poor soils, grows quickly. Sometimes almost too quickly, which is why in some regions it's even considered invasive. But in the garden, with a little control, it's simply a powerhouse. Pruning is important here. In early spring, cut it back hard, almost to the ground. That may sound drastic, but that's exactly what makes it sprout even stronger and produce masses of flowers. So if you want to bring life into your garden in summer, not just visual beauty, but buzzing, fluttering, living beauty, then this shrub is a must-have. Carya, the cheerful all-rounder. And now for something completely different, where the butterfly bush impresses with grandeur. Carya japonica, enchants with cheerfulness. This shrub is like a splash of sunshine. From April to May, it's covered in countless yellow pom-pom flowers. And not just for a week or two, but for weeks on end. Some varieties even bloom a second time in late summer. Its growth is loose, slightly arching, almost like a fountain. Up to 2 meters tall, airy, light, friendly. The leaves are fresh green, the flowers bright yellow. Together, they radiate pure joy. Care? Minimal. Sun to partial shade, average soil, a light pruning now and then to keep it fresh. That's all it needs. It's hardy, robust, and reliable. Carya isn't a diva, it's a team player. It looks lovely as a standalone shrub, but also fits perfectly into flowering hedges or natural gardens. And the best part, even in winter it has charm. Its green twigs stand out clearly when everything else has gone bare. A subtle but welcome detail. Conclusion. And there you have it, the 10 shrubs that don't just bloom at some point in the year, but keep your garden alive and colorful from January to October. From witch hazel, which casts its spell in the dead of winter, to the butterfly bush, which hums and flutters with life in high summer, to Carya, which brightens up spring and summer with cheer. These shrubs prove one thing. A garden doesn't have to be dull or lifeless for months on end. With the right selection, you'll always have something in bloom, something to look forward to, something that makes you and the insects happy. And the best part, they're all hardy, low maintenance, and adaptable. No specialist knowledge needed, no constant care. Plant them once, give them a suitable spot, and enjoy. So whether you renew to gardening or already experienced, try one or two of these shrubs. You'll see how much joy they can bring, not just for a season but all year round. Because a true garden hero isn't the one that shines briefly, but the one that stands by your side month after month.